The star maps showed nothing. For 3,000 years, the Corvathian Galactic Empire had expanded across the galaxy, claiming world after world. Their mighty fleets had crushed resistance from hundreds of species. None had ever stopped them. None had ever made them turn back. Admiral Zethrix stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Times Eternal Glory *, watching the view screen with satisfaction. His fleet consisted of 500 warships, enough firepower to reduce a dozen planets to dust. This was supposed to be a simple mission: scout the uncharted region, claim any habitable worlds, and add them to the Empire's endless territory. "Admiral, we are approaching the boundary markers," reported the navigation officer. Zethrix nodded. They had detected the markers 3 days ago. Simple buoys floating in space, arranged in a perfect line, stretching across thousands of light years. The Empire's scientists had been excited. Such precision indicated an advanced civilization. Advanced civilizations had better technology to steal. "What do the buoys say?" Zethrix asked. Commander Yurleth, his second officer, stepped forward. She had been studying the transmissions. "The message repeats in 47,000 languages, sir. It says, 'Warning. You are approaching human sovereign space. Entry is strictly prohibited. This is your only warning. Turn back now.'" Several officers laughed. Zethrix smiled. "Humans? I have never heard of them." "Neither has anyone in the Empire's records," Yurleth said quietly. "That is what concerns me, Admiral. We have records of every species in this region going back 2,000 years. But humans? Nothing. It is as if they appeared from nowhere. Or they are primitives trying to sound important," Zethrix said. He had seen this before. Small species, afraid of the great empire, trying to scare them away with bold words. It never worked. "Continue forward." "Sir, I recommend caution," Yurleth said. "I did find some mentions in very old archives. Ship logs from centuries ago. 3 different exploration fleets entered this region. None ever returned. They simply vanished." Zethrix waved his hand dismissively. "Space is dangerous. They probably hit an asteroid field or a solar flare. Move the fleet forward." The 500 warships crossed the invisible boundary. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, every communication system in the fleet went silent. Not jammed. Not disrupted. Simply severed. They could still talk to each other, but every attempt to contact the rest of the Empire failed. "What is happening?" Zethrix demanded. "Unknown, sir," the communications officer said, his voice shaking. "It is like we are in a bubble. Everything outside cannot reach us. This should not be possible." Yurleth checked her console. "Admiral, this is not natural interference. Something is actively isolating us. The technology required for this is far beyond anything in the Empire." "Nonsense," Zethrix said, but his voice had lost some of its confidence. "These humans are playing tricks. We will show them the price of threatening the Empire. Set course for the nearest inhabited system. Full speed." The fleet moved deeper into human space. They traveled for 2 days without incident. The ships passed several more buoys, all broadcasting the same warning. Zethrix ignored them all. His pride would not allow him to retreat from primitives. On the 3rd day, they detected a planet. Sensors showed cities, energy signatures, and millions of life forms. A perfect target. "Prepare the invasion forces," Zethrix ordered. "We will take this world and use it as a base. Once these humans see our might, they will surrender their entire territory." But before the fleet could enter orbit, a single ship appeared on their sensors. It was tiny, barely the size of an Imperial corvette. Against 500 warships, it was nothing. "Sir, the vessel is hailing us," communications reported. "Put it on screen." The view screen showed a human female. She wore a simple gray uniform with strange symbols on the collar. Her skin was dark, her hair was cut short, and her eyes were calm. too calm. She looked at Zethrix the way a teacher looks at a foolish child. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Human Space Defense Force, Vessel Times Resolute Asterisk," she said. Her voice was pleasant, but firm. "You have entered human sovereign space, despite our warning. This is a violation of our territory. I am authorized to give you one final chance. Turn your fleet around and leave. Now." The bridge fell silent. Then Zethrix began to laugh. His officers joined him. One ship. One tiny ship. Facing their entire fleet. Making demands. "Human," Zethrix said, his voice dripping with contempt. "I am Admiral Zethrix of the Corvathian Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your little warning means nothing. You will surrender immediately, or we will reduce your planet to ash." Captain Chen's expression did not change. "I see. You were warned, Admiral. Humanity does not bluff. You have 10 minutes to reverse course and leave our space. If you do not, you will face the consequences." "Consequences?" Zethrix roared. "I will show you consequences. Weapons. Target that ship. Destroy it." The Times Eternal Glory Times fired its main batteries. Massive energy beams, each capable of destroying a city, lanced through space toward the small human ship. But the Times, Resolute Times, moved. It dodged with impossible speed and grace, avoiding every shot. Then it simply vanished. "Where did it go?" Zethrix shouted. "Unknown, sir. It just disappeared from sensors." Yurlith checked her instruments. "Admiral, I am detecting something. There is a transmission being sent across the entire fleet. It is entering our computer systems. Block it. We cannot. It is bypassing every security measure we have." 3 minutes passed. Then, without warning, the Times Eternal Glory Asterisk's weapon systems went offline. Every gun, every missile launcher, every defense system simply stopped working. "What is happening?" Zethrix screamed. Across the fleet, 12 ships suddenly flashed with bright light and vanished. Gone. Not destroyed. Just gone. "Admiral," an officer cried out. "Sensors detect 50 human vessels approaching. They appeared from nowhere." Zethrix stared at the view screen. 50 ships. Only 50. Against his 500. But something was wrong. These ships were different. They moved with perfect coordination. Their energy signatures were stronger than anything he had ever seen. "All ships, prepare for combat." The human ships did not wait. They opened fire, but not with normal weapons. Beams of pure white light shot from their vessels, cutting through Imperial shields as if they did not exist. Explosions rocked the fleet. Ships that had survived 100 battles were torn apart in seconds, and the humans were not even using their main weapons. The reports flooding in said these were point defense guns. Small weapons, meant to shoot down missiles and fighters. Yet they were destroying Imperial warships effortlessly. "Retreat!" Zethrix finally shouted. "All ships, retreat!" But it was too late. In 10 minutes, half his fleet was gone. The humans had given their warning. Now, they were showing why the warning should have been heeded. Admiral Zethrix had never known defeat. In 40 years of service to the Corvathian Empire, he had conquered 23 worlds and destroyed 6 enemy fleets. But now, as his flagship limped through space with half its systems failing, he understood what defeat felt like. It tasted like ash and shame. "Damage report," he croaked, his voice hoarse from shouting orders during the brief, brutal battle. 247 ships lost, Commander Yurlith reported quietly. Another 83, heavily damaged. The rest have minor damage. Total casualties, estimated at 400,000 personnel. 400,000, gone, in less than an hour, against just 50 enemy ships. "How?" Zethrix whispered. "How is this possible?" Yurlith looked at her console, her face pale. Their technology is generations beyond ours, Admiral. Our weapons could barely scratch their shields. Their weapons cut through our defenses like they were not there. And they were not even trying very hard. What do you mean? According to the battle data, the human ships only used their point defense systems, the small guns meant to shoot down missiles and fighters. They never fired their main weapons. Not once. Zethrix felt cold. If those small guns could destroy his warships, what could their real weapons do? Admiral, we are receiving a transmission, communications reported. It is from the human ship, the Times Resolute Asterisk. Put it on screen. Captain Chen appeared again. She stood on her bridge, calm and composed. Behind her, Zethrix could see human crew members working at their stations. They looked relaxed. They had just destroyed half an Imperial fleet, and they looked like they were doing routine exercises. Admiral Zethrix, Chen said, I gave you a warning. You did not listen. Now you understand. But I am not here to gloat. I am here to give you information. Because unlike you, we believe in informed choices. What do you want, human? Zethrix snarled. I want you to understand what you are dealing with, Chen replied. 400 years ago, humanity fought a war. Not against aliens, against machines. Artificial intelligence we created turned against us. It was called the Machine War, or the AI Rebellion. Do you know what happened in that war, Admiral? Zethrix said nothing. Chen continued. 40 billion humans died. 40 billion. Out of a population of 70 billion. Earth itself, our homeworld, was burned. Our colonies were destroyed. We fought machines that could think faster than us, reproduce faster than us, and never grew tired. We were losing. But you won, Yurlith said from beside Zethrix. You are here. Yes, we won, Chen said. But the price of victory was terrible. We had to become something we never wanted to be. We built weapons that frightened us, planet crackers that could shatter worlds, star killers that could make suns go supernova, self-replicating war machines of our own. We fought horror with horror. The screen changed, showing images. Zethrix watched in growing terror. He saw human ships the size of moons. He saw weapons that tore holes in space itself. He saw planets cracked open like eggs, their cores exposed to space. He saw stars collapse and explode. We won our war, Chen said. But we looked at what we had become and were ashamed. We had built weapons that could destroy galaxies. We had created technology that made us gods of destruction. So we made a choice. We isolated ourselves. We put up the warning buoys. We told the rest of the galaxy to leave us alone. Why? Zethrix asked. If you have such power, why hide? Because we remember what it is like to be weak, Chen said softly. Before the machine war, we were peaceful explorers. We wanted to meet other species, make friends, share knowledge. Then the machines taught us that in this universe, if you are weak, you die. So we became strong. Stronger than we ever wanted to be. And we decided that we would never force others to become what we became. But you attacked us, Zethrix protested. No, Chen said firmly. We defended ourselves. We warned you, multiple times. You ignored those warnings. You threatened our people. You fired first. Everything that happened to your fleet was your choice, Admiral. Yurlith leaned forward. Captain Chen, I must ask. Your ships appeared from nowhere. Our sensors never detected them until they were right on top of us. How? Chen smiled slightly. We have had 400 years to perfect our technology. We can fold space, travel faster than your sensors can track, and hide entire fleets in dimensional pockets. During our war, we had to. The machines could see anything in normal space. So we learned to step outside normal space. Zethrix felt his heart sinking. Dimensional pockets. Faster than light travel that beat sensors. The Empire had theories about such things, but no practical applications. The humans had mastered them centuries ago. "What do you want from us?" he asked. "I want you to leave," Chen said. "Take your surviving ships and go. Return to your empire and tell them what happened here. Tell them that humanity gave you a warning for a reason. Tell them that if they send more fleets, those fleets will not return. The Empire will not accept this." Zethric said, "We do not surrender. We do not retreat. The Empress will send the full might of the Empire against you. Then the Empire will lose," Chen said simply. "Admiral, do you know what you passed on your way here? Those buoys that warned you? There are 10,000 of them surrounding human space. Each one is more than a warning beacon. Each one is a weapon platform that can destroy anything that comes near it. We let you pass because we wanted you to have a choice. We could have destroyed your entire fleet the moment you crossed the boundary." The screen changed again. This time it showed a map of human space. Red dots marked the locations of buoys. But there were other symbols too. Blue triangles. Thousands of them. "Those blue triangles are defense stations," Chen explained. "Each one contains enough firepower to sterilize a planet. Each one is automated and will respond to any threat. And beyond them, deeper in our space, are weapons you cannot imagine. Weapons we built during the war and never dismantled because we knew someday someone would not listen to our warnings." Yurlith's hands shook as she worked her console. "Admiral, I am analyzing the energy signatures from those stations. If her data is accurate, one of those stations could destroy our entire surviving fleet. All of them together could destroy the Empire's core worlds." "From here?" Zethric asked. "That is impossible. We are thousands of light years from the Empire's center. Distance means nothing to weapons that travel through folded space," Chen said. "We could strike your capital world right now if we wanted to. But we do not want to. We want peace. We want to be left alone. That is all we have ever wanted." Zethric stared at her. "Then why did you isolate yourselves? Why not join the galactic community?" "Because we are dangerous," Chen said. "Not because we want to be. Because we have to be. We learned in our war that the only way to guarantee peace is to be so strong that no one dares attack you. But that strength corrupts. It makes you think you can solve every problem with force. It makes you forget that other beings have rights and feelings and dreams. We isolated ourselves to remember our humanity, to stay human, despite our power." She paused, then added, "You have a choice, Admiral. Leave now with our mercy, or stay and face our justice. Choose wisely." The transmission ended. Zethric sat in his command chair, his mind racing. Everything he believed about the Empire's invincibility had been shattered. Commander Yurlith approached him carefully. "Admiral, what are your orders?" Zethric wanted to order an attack. His pride demanded it. But his reason, screaming now after years of being ignored, told him the truth. They could not win. They had never been able to win. "Set course for Imperial space," he said quietly. "We are leaving." As his fleet turned away, limping back toward the boundary, Zethric made a decision. He would tell the Empress everything, and he would recommend that human space be declared forever forbidden. Some warnings, he had learned, were not meant to be tested. Admiral Zethric made a mistake. Instead of fleeing straight back to Imperial space, pride took control of his judgment. His fleet was broken, but not destroyed. He still had over 200 ships. In his mind, the humans had won, through tricks and surprise. In a real fight, with proper planning, the Empire would triumph. He found a star system deep in human territory. It was marked on the charts as inhabited, with a population of 5 million. A small colony. Nothing like the major worlds. Humanity surely protected more carefully. If he could take hostages, force the humans to negotiate, then perhaps he could return home with some victory to report. "Admiral, this is madness," Commander Yurlith protested. We should leave immediately. We have been humiliated enough, Zethryx snapped. The Empire does not run from primitives. We will take that colony world and use it as leverage. The fleet entered the system cautiously. The planet appeared normal. Cities dotted the surface. Energy readings suggested millions of inhabitants. Ships came and went from orbital stations. It looked like an easy target. Take positions around the planet, Zethryx ordered. Prepare a message to the human government. We will offer to spare the colony if they guarantee safe passage for our fleet back to Imperial space. But something felt wrong. The colony ships did not flee. The orbital stations did not activate defenses. Nothing happened. It was too quiet. Then Captain Chen's voice came over the communication system. Admiral Zethryx, I gave you a chance to leave. You chose not to take it. Now you will learn why we gave you that chance. I have your colony hostage, human, Zethryx shouted. One wrong move and we will bombard the surface. 5 million of your people will die. Admiral, Chen said softly. There is no one on that planet. That colony was abandoned 200 years ago. It is now something else, entirely. Before Zethryx could respond, the planet changed. The surface split open like a flower blooming. Massive sections of crust pulled back, revealing the truth. The planet was hollow. Inside was not a core of rock and metal, but a vast array of technology. Weapons. Thousands upon thousands of weapons. All pointed at his fleet. What is that? Zethryx whispered. That is a defense platform, Chen replied. During the machine war, we built hundreds of them. Fake planets that were actually giant weapon systems. This one is called Sentinel-7. It has been watching you since you entered the system. The weapons began to glow. Energy built up in ways that made Imperial sensors scream warnings. But before they could fire, something else happened. Every ship in Zethryx's fleet suddenly went dark. Engines died. Weapons powered down. Life support switched to emergency batteries. Even the lights went out. What did you do? Zethryx shouted into his communicator. Electromagnetic pulse, Chen answered. But not the kind you know. This one is targeted and controlled. It shut down your ships without killing your crews. You are alive, Admiral, because we choose to let you live. Through the viewport, Zethryx saw human ships approaching. Dozens of them, moving through his helpless fleet like sharks among paralyzed fish. But they did not fire. Instead, small craft detached from the human vessels and attached to Imperial ships. We are being boarded, an officer reported, using a handheld communicator since the main systems were dead. Zethryx drew his weapon. If the humans wanted his ship, they would have to take it. He rushed to the main airlock with a squad of his best soldiers. They took positions, waiting for the attack. The airlock opened. What came through was nightmare, made real. The human soldiers wore armor that made them look like giants. Each suit stood 3 meters tall, covered in layered plating that seemed to absorb light. Their movements were smooth and precise, driven by some kind of powered system. Energy weapons were built into their arms. They looked like walking tanks. Zethryx's soldiers fired. Energy bolts struck the human armor and dissipated harmlessly. Projectile weapons bounced off without leaving scratches. The humans did not even flinch. One of them stepped forward and spoke. The voice amplified and slightly mechanical. Admiral Zethryx, we are here to secure this vessel. Do not resist. We do not wish to harm you. Never. Zethryx screamed and charged. The human moved with impossible speed for something so large. One armored hand caught Zethryx's weapon and crushed it like paper. Another hand grabbed Zethryx by the chest armor and lifted him off his feet as easily as picking up a child. Admiral, the human soldier said, your weapon cannot hurt us. Your soldiers cannot stop us. We have taken control of every ship in your fleet. This is over. Please, do not make us use force. Zethryx struggled, but it was useless. The armor gave the human strength far beyond natural. He was set down carefully, and his soldiers were disarmed just as easily. None of them were hurt. The humans moved through the ship like they owned it, taking control of every deck, every system, every crew member. And they did it all without firing a single shot. Hours later, Zethric sat in his own conference room, no longer in command of his own ship. Captain Chen sat across from him. She had arrived on a small shuttle, and now looked at him with those calm, patient eyes. "Do you understand now?" she asked. "You could have killed us all," Zethric said bitterly. "Yes," Chen agreed. "Easily. That defense platform could have destroyed your entire fleet in seconds. Our boarding teams could have vented your ships to space. We could have done many terrible things. But we did not. Do you know why? We. Mercy?" Zethric spat the word like a curse. "Compassion," Chen corrected. "We remember being where you are, Admiral. We remember thinking we were invincible. We remember learning, painfully, that we were wrong. You attacked us because you did not know better. Now you do." She touched a control on the table. A hologram appeared, showing scenes from the machine war. Zethric watched in horror. He saw human cities burning. He saw fleets of machines that stretched across entire solar systems. He saw weapons that defied understanding. One scene showed a planet simply coming apart. Not exploded. Just disassembled, torn into chunks by some invisible force. Another showed a star turning black and cold, snuffed out like a candle. A third showed space itself ripping open, swallowing an entire fleet of machine ships into nothing. "We built these weapons," Chen said quietly. "Not because we wanted to. Because we had to. The machines were trying to exterminate us. Every human. Every trace of our existence. So we fought back with everything we could imagine. We broke the laws of physics. We weaponized stars and planets and black holes. We became monsters to fight monsters. And you won," Zethric said. "We survived?" Chen corrected. "Winning implies something good happened. Nothing good came from that war except that we did not go extinct. We lost more than half our species. We lost our innocence. We lost our belief that intelligence always leads to peace. We learned that the universe is cruel and that only the strong survive." She leaned forward. "But we also learned something else. We learned that being strong is not enough. We learned that power without wisdom leads to tyranny. We learned that the greatest strength is not in how much you can destroy, but in how much you choose not to destroy." "Then why show me all this?" Zethric asked. "Why tell me about your weapons?" "Because you need to understand," Chen said. "Your empire needs to understand. We did not isolate ourselves because we are weak. We isolated ourselves because we are strong. Too strong. We could conquer the entire galaxy if we wanted to. We could destroy any species that opposed us. We have the weapons. We have the technology. We have the will, forged in the fire of our war." She paused, making sure he was listening. "But we choose not to. We choose to stay in our own space and live our own lives. We choose peace, not because we must, but because we can. And we will defend that choice against anyone who tries to take it from us." Zethric felt something break inside him, his pride, his certainty. All his life, he had believed the Empire was the greatest power in the galaxy. Now he knew the truth. The Empire was nothing. A child playing with toys, unaware of the true powers that existed in the universe. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now you go home," Chen said. "We will repair your ships. We will resupply them. And we will escort you to the boundary of our space. You will leave, and you will never return. You will tell your empire what happened here. You will tell them that humanity wants to be left alone. And if they are wise, they will listen. One pyre. To the information. One pyre. And if they do not?" Captain Chen's expression did not change, but her eyes grew cold. "Then they will learn what our real weapons can do. and they will wish they had listened to the warning. Empress Calixara had ruled the Corvathian Empire for 200 years. In that time, she had never heard the word defeat spoken in her throne room. Until now. Admiral Zethrix knelt before her, his uniform stripped of its decorations. Around him stood the High Council, the most powerful beings in the Empire. They listened in silence as he told his story. The warnings, the battle, the hollow planet, the boarding, every humiliating detail. When he finished, silence filled the massive chamber. Then, one of the council members laughed. Others joined in. Soon, the entire court was laughing at Zethrix's tale. Impossible, declared Lord Vexthor, the Empire's chief military strategist. No species could have such technology. This admiral is making excuses for his failure. I swear it is true, Zethrix said. I have sensor logs, battle recordings, testimonies from hundreds of officers. The humans are real. Their power is real. Empress Calixara raised one hand, and the laughter stopped immediately. She was old, even by the long-lived standards of her species. Her scales had turned silver with age, but her eyes were sharp and her mind sharper still. Commander Yurlith, the Empress said, you were second in command. Do you confirm this story? Yurlith stepped forward. She had been standing behind Zethrix, and now she bowed deeply. Every word, Your Majesty. I wish it were not true, but it is. The humans possess technology centuries beyond ours. They defeated our fleet easily. They could have killed us all, but chose mercy instead. Mercy. The Empress repeated the word thoughtfully. Perhaps that is why they are powerful, Your Majesty, Yurlith said carefully. They learned mercy through suffering. Their war with their machines cost them 40 billion lives. They know the price of violence. They know the price of violence. They learned mercy, or they are simply afraid, suggested Lady Korthas, the Empire's chief diplomat. They hide behind their warnings and their isolation. True power does not need to hide. They are not hiding, Zethrix said, his voice growing desperate. They are protecting themselves. And they are protecting us from them. Your Majesty, we cannot fight them. We must respect their territory and never go back. The Empress's expression hardened. Cannot? There is no such word in the Empire's vocabulary. We are the Corvathians. We have ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years. No one tells us where we can and cannot go. But Your Majesty, Zethrix began. Silence, the Empress commanded. She stood from her throne, her form towering over the assembly. You have embarrassed the Empire. Admiral Zethrix, you retreated. You surrendered. You accepted mercy from primitives. For this, you are stripped of your rank and exiled. Zethrix's face fell. Exile was a fate worse than death for a military officer, but he bowed his head in acceptance. The Empress turned to her council. We will assemble the Grand Armada. 5,000 ships. 1/3 of our entire military might. We will crush these humans and show the galaxy that the Empire cannot be challenged. Your Majesty, Yurlith spoke up, I must protest. We cannot win this war. Then we will die trying. The Empress said coldly. The Empire does not surrender. We do not accept defeat. We will show these humans what real power looks like. The Council began making preparations immediately. Messages went out to every fleet, every shipyard, every military base. The Grand Armada would gather. It would be the largest military force the Empire had ever assembled. But not everyone agreed with this decision. In secret chambers and quiet corners, other species within the Empire began to talk. The Corvathians ruled over 300 subject races. Most had been conquered long ago and had accepted imperial rule. But news of humanity's resistance spread quickly. They stood up to the Empire and won, whispered the Threllan ambassador to his aide. Perhaps we could too. Ferman, 1747, and Ferman, and Discaired into 7, 4017. and discaired and discaired. 4017. And discaired and discaired and discaired and discaired and discaired and discaired and discaired. The humans have technology we can only dream of, said a Morthak scientist to her colleagues. If we could contact them, perhaps they would share it with us. They showed mercy to their enemies, observed a Zintari priest. The Empire has never shown mercy. Perhaps the humans are the righteous ones, and the Empire is the evil we have accepted for too long. These whispers reached the ears of the oldest civilization in the known galaxy. The archivists were a race so ancient that they had been exploring space when the Corvathians were still living in caves. They rarely involved themselves in galactic politics, preferring to observe and record. But now, they sent a message. It was broadcast to both the Empire and to humanity simultaneously. The message was simple. We are the archivists. We have existed for 2 million years. In that time, we have seen 1,000 civilizations rise and fall. We have records of nearly every significant event in this galaxy's history. We send this message as a warning to the Corvathian Empire and as encouragement to humanity. The message continued. 3,000 years ago, another empire existed in this region of space. They were called the Vraxon Collective. They were powerful, aggressive, and proud. Like the Corvathians, they believed themselves invincible. They encountered a small species that warned them to leave their territory. The Vraxons ignored that warning. They attacked. Within 1 year, the Vraxon Collective ceased to exist. Every world was empty. Every ship was destroyed. Their entire civilization was erased so completely that most species have never even heard of them. We investigated, the archivist stated. We found only one clue. A message carved into the surface of the Vraxon homeworld, written in their own language. It said, "We warned you. You did not listen. Now you are gone, and the galaxy will forget you ever existed." It was signed, Humanity. The message ended with a final warning. The humans isolated themselves because they are dangerous. Not to those who respect their boundaries, but to those who threaten them. The Corvathians would be wise to accept the humans' terms. Otherwise, there may soon be no more Corvathians to record. The message caused panic in the imperial court. Some council members began to doubt the wisdom of attacking humanity. Others insisted it was propaganda, tricks, or lies. But Empress Calixara refused to change her decision. The archivists have grown senile. With age, she declared. They see ghosts in every shadow. The Vraxon Collective probably destroyed themselves through civil war. The humans are using fear and legend to protect their weakness. The Grand Armada assembled. 5,000 warships gathered at the edge of human space. It was a sight that would have made any other species surrender immediately. The fleet was so large it took an hour for the last ship to arrive after the first one reached the staging point. Meanwhile, on the human side of the border, another meeting was taking place. They are really coming, Admiral Marcus Wright said, reviewing the sensor data. 5,000 ships. They are going to attack us. President Amara Okafor sat at the head of the table in the Human Defense Council chamber. Around her sat the leaders of humanity's military, government, and scientific community. We could strike first, Admiral Wright suggested. Destroy the fleet before it crosses our border. We have the capability. No, President Okafor said firmly. We warned them. We defended ourselves when they attacked. But we will not become the aggressors. That is not who we are. With respect, Madam President, Wright argued, if we wait, more of our people could die. We could end this now with a single strike, and become the monsters we fought to avoid becoming, Okafor replied. We made a promise to ourselves after the machine war. We would never again start a war. We would defend, but never attack. That promise is what keeps us human. Then what do we do? Asked Dr. Sarah Kimathi, the head of Human Weapons Research. President Okafor stood. We meet them at the border. With a fleet large enough to defend ourselves, but not so large as to be threatening. We give them one more chance to turn back, and if they refuse, she paused. Then we show them exactly why we warned them in the first place. She looked around the table. But we do it as defenders, not as conquerors. We prove that power and mercy can exist together. We show the galaxy that humanity is strong not because we want to dominate, but because we refuse to be dominated. The vote was taken. The decision was made. Humanity would meet the Grand Armada at the border, and the galaxy would learn whether the Empire's pride or humanity's restraint would prevail. The Grand Armada arrived at the boundary of human space like a storm rolling across the sky. 5,000 warships, carrying millions of soldiers, armed with enough firepower to destroy 100 planets. Empress Calixara herself commanded from the mega-dreadnought times Imperial Destiny, *, the largest ship ever built by the Empire. This is the moment, she announced to her fleet. Today, we remind the galaxy why the Corvathian Empire is supreme. Today, we crush these upstart humans and take their technology for ourselves. The fleet crossed the boundary. The warning buoys activated, broadcasting their message one final time. Warning. You are entering human sovereign space. Entry is prohibited. Turn back now. Destroy those irritating beacons, the Empress ordered. Weapons fired. Energy beams struck the buoys. But nothing happened. The beams were absorbed by some kind of shield technology the Empire did not understand. The buoys continued broadcasting their warning, untouched. Your Majesty, reported the sensor officer. I am detecting human ships ahead. Counting. 500 vessels. Only 500? The Empress laughed. They send 500 ships to face our 5,000? They have already lost. Or 5, but as the human fleet came into view, experienced officers began to feel uneasy. The human ships were different from what Admiral Zethrix had reported. These were larger, more advanced. Each one radiated power that made Imperial sensors fluctuate. They were not simple warships. They were something else, entirely. The human fleet arranged itself in a defensive formation. No aggressive posturing. No weapon locks. Just waiting. Then a transmission came through. President Amara Okafor appeared on the view screen. She wore simple civilian clothing, not a military uniform. She looked tired and sad. I am President Okafor of the United Human Government, she said. You have ignored our warnings. You have entered our space with hostile intent. I am asking you, one final time, to turn back. There does not need to be a war today. There will be a war, human. Empress Calixara replied coldly. And you will lose. Surrender now, and we will spare your species. Resist, and we will exterminate you. President Okafor closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they held resolve. We gave you every chance. We warned you. We showed you mercy. We hoped you would understand, but you have chosen violence. So be it. Humanity will defend itself. The transmission ended. All ships, the Empress commanded. Attack formation. Destroy them. The Grand Armada surged forward. 5,000 ships against 500. It should have been a massacre. The Empire expected easy victory. They were wrong. The human ships did not retreat. They did not scatter. They simply activated their weapons. And the universe screamed. Energy beams unlike anything the Empire had seen lanced through space. They did not simply destroy ships. They unmade them. Imperial vessels hit by these weapons did not explode. They ceased to exist, erased from reality as if they had never been built. Shields that had withstood centuries of warfare meant nothing against these weapons. Shields are not working, an officer screamed. Those beams ignore them completely, but the beams were only the beginning. Human ships began launching weapons that bent space itself. missiles that traveled faster than sensors could track, energy torpedoes that created miniature black holes on impact, drones that were so fast and agile they seemed to teleport. The Imperial fleet tried to return fire. Tens of thousands of weapons lit up space, but the human ships simply weren't there. They moved through space in ways that should not be possible. They phased through solid matter. They appeared and disappeared. One moment they were in front of the Imperial fleet, the next they were behind it. "How are they doing this?" the Empress demanded. "They are using dimensional manipulation," her chief scientist reported, his voice shaking. "They are moving through alternate dimensions. They are not really in our space at all. Our weapons cannot hit what is not fully here." In the first 5 minutes, the Empire lost 1,000 ships. In 10 minutes, 2,000 were gone. The human ships moved through the Armada like ghosts, untouchable and unstoppable. Imperial officers watched in horror as their most powerful vessels were torn apart by enemies they could not even hit. Empress Calixara finally understood. The humans had been holding back. Everything Admiral Zethrix had faced was nothing compared to this. These were humanity's real weapons. The weapons they had built to fight machines that thought faster than any living being. Weapons designed to fight an enemy that never slept, never surrendered, and never showed mercy. "Retreat," she ordered. "All ships, retreat." But it was too late. The human fleet had surrounded them, not physically, but dimensionally. There was nowhere to run. Then, as suddenly as it started, the attack stopped. The human ships held position. Weapons still active, but not firing. A transmission came through. President Okafor appeared again. "Empress Calixara, you have lost. 3,000 of your ships are destroyed. The remaining 2,000 are at our mercy. But I am not here to gloat. I am here to teach you what you should have learned before you came here. Kill us and be done with it." The Empress said bitterly. "No," Okafor replied. "We will not kill you. We are not murderers. We are defenders. Every ship we destroyed had multiple chances to turn back. Every crew that died chose to be here. We did not want this." The view screen changed, showing footage from inside human ships. Okafor's voice continued. "Look at my people, Empress. Look at their faces. They are not celebrating. They are not proud. They are sad, because they remember our war. They remember what it cost us to become this strong, and they know that every life we take today, even in self-defense, is a tragedy." The footage showed human soldiers and crew members. Some were crying. Others looked grim and determined. None looked happy. "We could have destroyed your entire fleet in the first minute," Okafor said. "We could have erased your homeworld before you even left it. We have weapons that can destroy stars. Empress, we can manipulate space and time. We can split atoms and create new matter. We learned to do these things because we had to. But we never wanted to." She leaned forward. "That is why we isolated ourselves. Not because we are afraid of you. Because we are afraid of what we might do to you. We know what we are capable of. We know that if we go to war, if we truly unleash our power, we could destroy this entire region of space. And we do not want that. We want to live in peace, to rebuild what we lost, to remember what it means to be human, not machines of war." "Then why this show of force?" the Empress asked. "Why not just destroy us all?" "Because we believe in choice," Okafor said. "We believe that even you, even after everything you have done, deserve a chance to learn and grow. We warned you. You did not listen, so we defended ourselves. But we will not exterminate you. That would make us no better than the machines we fought." The Empress was silent. Around her, her officers stood in shock. Everything they believed about power and strength had been shattered. "Here is what will happen," President Okafor continued. "We will return every surviving ship to you, fully repaired. We will return every captured soldier. We will even return your dead, so they can be honored according to your customs. But in return, you will leave and never come back. Human space is now permanently off-limits to the Corvethian Empire. We will establish a no-entry zone. Any ship that crosses it will be destroyed without warning. Not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. The Empire does not accept terms, the Empress said, but her voice lacked conviction. Then the Empire will cease to exist. Okafor said simply, not because we will destroy you, but because you will destroy yourselves trying to fight us. Look around. Empress, look at your fleet. Look at what we did with just 500 ships. We have 10,000 more in reserve. We have weapons you cannot imagine. We have technology that makes us seem like gods, but we are not gods. We are just humans who learned hard lessons about survival. She paused, then added, go home, Empress. Tell your people what happened here. Tell them that humanity wants peace, not war. Tell them that the warning was real, and the price for ignoring it is high. And tell them that if they leave us alone, we will leave them alone. That is all we ask. All we have ever asked. The transmission ended. Hours later, the Imperial fleet limped away from human space. Every ship had been repaired by human technology that worked faster than anything the Empire possessed. Every soldier had been returned unharmed, treated for injuries, and given food and water. Even the dead were returned in stasis pods. As her ship crossed back into Imperial space, Empress Kalixara looked at the data her scientists had collected. Human ships that moved through dimensions, weapons that manipulated reality, technology that seemed like magic, and most terrifying of all, a species that had all this power, but chose not to use it unless forced. She composed a message to the High Council. It was short and to the point. Human space is hereby declared forbidden territory. Any ship, any person, any probe that enters human space will be considered to have deserted the Empire. We will never again approach their borders. We will never again contact them. This decree is permanent and will be enforced by death. The humans are not our enemies, but they could be. And if they are, we will lose. We must accept this reality and move forward. The message was approved unanimously. Back in human space, Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Times, resolute asterisk, watching the last Imperial ship cross the boundary. A junior officer approached her. Captain, did we do the right thing? Letting them go after they attacked us? Chen thought about the question carefully. We gave them the same thing we wanted when we were weak. A chance to survive. A chance to learn. A chance to choose peace over war. They took it. That is all we can ask. She looked out at the stars. Our ancestors fought to survive. They built weapons that terrified them. They became something they never wanted to be. But they did it so we could have a choice. We choose to defend, not conquer. We choose to warn, not threaten. We choose mercy, not vengeance. And as long as we remember that, we remain human. No matter how powerful we become. The Times' resolute Times turned and headed back into human space, leaving the boundary behind. The warning buoys continued their eternal broadcast. A reminder to the galaxy that some territories were not to be crossed, not because they were weak, but because they were too strong. And in their strength, they had found wisdom. The wisdom to know when not to fight. The wisdom to give others the chances they themselves had once needed. The wisdom to be powerful without being cruel. Humanity had been warned that the universe was dangerous. They had learned that lesson well. Now, they warned others, and those who listened lived. Those who did not learn why the warning existed, but even those who did not listen were given mercy, because humanity remembered what it was like to need mercy, and they would never forget.